Hello and welcome to Sunday Sermon here on Politics Social. I am Graham Hughes. How you all doing? Got L Butterfly Effect, got Yuri in the chat, we've got Chris C, we've got Gallifreyan Wren, Viper Scott, and we've got Simon Smith, and we've got all these awesome people in the chat. All you need to do to join the awesome few is subscribe to the channel. That's all you need to do. Just subscribe, wait for one ungodly minute, and then you'll be able to join in with the chat. Join in with the chat. Everyone's saying hi. So today I'm going to be talking about little Greenland men. See what I did there? That little green man from Crimea in 2014. And just loads of Russian soldiers just started turning up on the streets. But they didn't have like badges on saying where they were from. You know, they just had masks over their face. So America wants to move into Greenland. So Greenlanders can have the joy, the pleasure, the pure happiness that comes from knowing that any day of the week there might be a knock on the door from a masked vigilante who is armed, who has the full force of the law behind them and a license to kill. And they can say, papers, please. And if you don't scramble to get the papers fast enough, they can shoot you in the back of the head in front of your family. And they will have absolute immunity from prosecution for doing that. Apparently, that's what we learned this week. That's what we learned this week in America. To my American friends, I doubt many people are going to be watching because it's quite early in America right now, middle of the night. But if you're watching afterwards, please get the fuck out of America, okay? Just get out. Just get out. I know there's going to be some brave souls who are going to stay and fight. My advice: get the fuck out. I want to just talk a little bit about the fact that I travelled with refugees from Syria across Lake Nasser, across the Mediterranean. I also met refugees around the world when I was travelling. And I met people who lived in South Africa as refugees from Zimbabwe. And they said, we're just waiting for Mugabe to die. One man, one elderly, overweight blob of shite to fucking die. Meanwhile, up in North Africa, in Libya, when I went there and chatted to locals, they were just waiting for Gaddafi to die. An entire nation waiting for one motherfucker to fucking cark it. Well now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2026, when the entire world is waiting, desperately praying, hoping that Trump will fucking cark it. Preferably shitting himself and screaming at the same time. That motherfucker. So now he's turned his attention to Greenland. Great. He said it's going to be taken the easy way or the hard way. Now, not the first time he's made that proposition to someone, because he's a fucking criminal. He is a sex offender. He's a fucking paedophile. He's a murderer. He is the biggest piece of shit that humanity has ever created. Fat Hitler. This is not diplomacy. This is a mob boss threat. He runs his government like Vito Corleone runs the family. He's already kidnapped Maduro using US forces. So that shattered the idea that this is just talk, okay? It's not just talk. It's not just talk. Stop going, oh, he won't really do it, though. He won't really do it. He won't really get elected. He won't really do this. He won't really... I'm sick of hearing it. If he says he's going to do something, let's just operate on the idea that he fucking will. And what we need to do is go, okay, let's war game this. Literally, war game. If he does it, depending on how he does it, how do we fight back? How do we fuck up his shit? Because he went into Venezuela because someone whispered in his ear, hey, Donny, if you go to Venezuela, there's loads of oil down there. We need the oil. Go down and get the oil. So he went, okay, cool. And he kidnapped Maduro, put him on trial in New York. And then afterwards, after kidnapping him, after killing 75 people in Caracas, he goes, oh, maybe I'll talk to the oil companies now. What did the oil companies say on Friday? Well, like I said, they would. We're not interested. It's too expensive. It's not worth our time. It will cost us money to do this. It costs us money. It will cost us expertise. It will cost us personnel. there's nothing to be gained. Even if there was the US government gave the $100 billion that is going to be needed to get Venezuela's oil production back to what it used to be, even if that is paid for by the American taxpayer, which I'm sure American taxpayers would love to pay, because they're all Christians, you see. They feel like giving subsidies to oil companies is a good thing. Giving subsidies to, I don't know, single mothers, that's a bad thing. But, that's the American mentality, isn't it? Not all Americans, but enough. Jesus Christ, enough. My God. But even if that was the case, drilling for oil in Venezuela would mean the global price of oil goes down because there will be more supply. And not necessarily more demand. So the price goes down. So the $500 billion, the $500 billion that these oil companies have invested in Canada over the last 20 years, well, that goes to shit, doesn't it? They're still paying that back. You still need to be making oil out of Canada and selling it at $60 a barrel. If the price crashes to $20 a barrel, they're fucked. They're absolutely fucked. But yeah, these people, they're not businessmen. They're just dickheads. They're just Nepo baby, privileged, little Lord Fauntleroys, little Lord Fontaine twats who've never lived in the real world. Never, ever lived in the real world. You've got to understand that these people, they stopped developing at the age of 12 because they didn't need to. Everything in their life has been delivered to them on a silver platter. Every time they broke the law, every time they did something wrong, they didn't get into too much trouble. Let's put it that way. Billy Bonson, whatever his name is, from Goodfellas, right? Played by Ray Liotta, right? He Henry Hill, is it Henry Hill, right? Haunted house on Henry Hill. I don't know, something like that. He gets away with it, doesn't he? He gets a new life somewhere else, and the only punishment is his life's a bit boring now. The guy from Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Beaufort or whatever the fuck his name is, he got put in a jail for all the crime he committed. Swindling pensioners of their pensions, swindling, mothers out of what little they had to feed their children. He got put in one of these prisons where they have fucking tennis courts for 6 months. So these people live a consequence-free life. They never, ever suffer the consequences that the rest of us suffer if we make a tiny mistake. If we read a parking sign wrong, or if we read, or we're filling out a form and we miss out a letter. Make a typo on the form. That's it. $10,000. Fine. Because you book a flight, it's got a countdown saying, you've only got 5 minutes to book this, hurry up, these tickets are go 5, 4, 3. And then you're like, oh shit, panic, and you make one tiny mistake. And then it's like, gotcha. The rest of us face consequences for doing nothing wrong. Just like Renee Good did last week. She faced consequences for doing nothing wrong. In her case, the deadliest consequences, which has led the Trump administration to say that any ICE agent can knock on anybody's door and shoot them in the motherfucking face. Any American. This can happen to any American. And I have American friends whose partners have come from somewhere else, have come from another country, and they're still like, yeah, Trump, yeah, he's doing I think he's doing the right thing, And I'm like, mate, are you fucking daffy? Do you not realise that one day that knock's going to be on your door? And it might be, I don't know, maybe your partner, your wife, your husband, who's left without a fucking face. And the person who does it and kills them and then says, haha, stupid bitch. After doing it, clearly murder, clearly first fucking degree murder. This guy planned to do this. He was like, I'm going to take one of these out because I know that I have absolute immunity from prosecution. No matter how horrific the crime I commit, no matter how many cameras are filming it. You talk about the fact that, it's got to be filmed. Like if people film it, then there will be like a George Floyd moment, and people will rise up and people go, "Oh no, we're not going to stand for this anymore," right? But then you go, "Oh, but George Floyd was black. It needs to be a white person," and then you can say, "Oh, this white person." Then it could be anyone in America. It could be a white man. No, it can't be a white man. It's got to be a white woman. Okay, a white woman right? Oh yeah, but she might not have kids, and then we're a little less sympathetic. Okay, right, let's have a white mother in Minnesota. How about that, eh? How about that? In Minneapolis, we'll have a white woman and we'll fucking shoot her in the face and see if we can get away with it. Check off. Yep, did it. Check that off the list. Fucking brilliant. We did it. And we have absolute immunity from prosecution for doing that. If I was in America, I would be out of there, mate. I would be getting the next flight to motherfucking anywhere, because the American Gestapo is now going door to door and has absolute immunity from prosecution if they fucking kill you and your family. I mean, I'm sorry, Americans, who are like, oh, it's my land, I'm going to stay here and I love it. Yeah, if you love your VCR more than you love your own fucking life, stay there, whatever. They have DVD players in other countries. They have TVs in other countries. Get out. Yeah, okay, you might have family there and you can't leave because of your family, but if they can't leave, is it better that you all die? Is it better that you all put in a fucking camp? I don't think so. I will get the fuck out of America right now. And I'm sorry, some of you might be watching that going, that's the coward's way out. That's the coward's way out, Graham. What are you talking about? We're not going to do the coward's way out. I'm like, no. You know what? This is all going to collapse like a fucking house of cards as soon as Trump is dead. Get out. Wait for that motherfucker to die. Preferably screaming and shitting himself. And then go back. Okay? That's it. I'm not saying you have to move forever. Just get out while you can and stay out while his Gestapo goons are going door to door and shooting 37-year-old white mothers in the face. What signal do you think that sends to anyone who's not a mother, to anyone who's not a woman, to anyone who's not white? Because they're down the pecking order in America, don't forget. They're down the empathy index. Oh, well, they had arrests for being on drugs once. They were found with some weed in their glove box of their car. So it doesn't matter. Okay, this woman, no criminal record. No criminal record. Did absolutely nothing wrong. And they shot her anyway. And we're given blanket immunity. Blanket immunity by the president. Golden Boy, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Europe, wake up. All right, I am awake. God damn. When the world turns its back on us, we stand alone. Now is the moment to build our own European army. Golden Boy, I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. I think it is absolutely... when people say... When that Farage creep was going, I don't want a fucking European army. I'm like, we'll be in it, you dickhead. But worry about other people's armies that you're not fucking part of. You don't want a European army. Yeah, he didn't want a European army because Farage is working for Putin. Fuck me. How do people not see this? Tory light, Tory fucking... It's the same colour. Their logo is the same colour. It's a Tory logo. It's just a lighter shade of blue. I mean, is that not a giveaway? There's more ex-Tories in Reform than anywhere else. Anywhere else. It is just the lifeboat for the Tory party to continue with their cavalcade of incompetence and cruelty that was the Tory administration for 14 years. It's a continuation of that. That's all it is. The same rich bastards from the same rich cunt families doing the same rich cunt things. Keeping the rest of us, because it's not enough for them to have their Coots bank accounts. It's not enough for them to jet around on private jets and have a mistress in every country. That's not enough for them. Eating fucking caviar and swans and roast suckle and pig every night for dinner. That's not enough for them. They need us to suffer, because that's the only thing that gets them off. These people are fucked. These people are sick in the head. And the only good thing about them, apart from the fact they are mortal, so they will die one day, is the fact that they're in the minority. You know, these really, really rich motherfuckers are in the vanishing minority. And yet, we, the unhappy few, no, the unhappy majority, put up with it. Why do we put up with it? Why do we put up with a system where half the people in this country are working each day to pay for the mortgage of someone else? Pay off someone else's mortgage so they can become richer and richer? Why are we doing that? Can you explain to me? How does that make any sense? How does that make any moral sense? Never mind fucking financial sense. And you go, oh, you know, it's better to rent because then you have to fix your own shit. I'm like, okay, so you stay in someone else's house. They may have to fix the shit, but at the end of the day, when they decide to sell that house, they get £500,000 in their pocket that you've given them, that you've paid. You've given them all this fucking money to pay off their mortgage over the years that you've been renting. And then they go, okay, I'll sell this now. Thank you very much. Cheers. Then you get a new landlord and you can pay for their mortgage. Brilliant. What a great system. What a fucked system. What an absolutely fucked system. This system is fucked. You know, and this channel, like, I can't grow it. I know I can't grow it because YouTube just doesn't work like this. That doesn't work like that. And it works against me and my personality and the way I am to have to do the things that would allow me to grow this channel to a point where it can make all its money from advertising. One, I don't want to piss people off with adverts every 5 fucking seconds, although YouTube, I'm in a permanent battle with YouTube because they just want to put adverts on everything all the fucking time. I'm like, stop putting adverts on my videos. And it's like, no, it's just a few videos. Just one at the beginning and one at the end. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I watch it back and it's like 17 fucking ads in a rerun of an old, live video. No one watches them after, the next day, plus the fact I'm talking about the news. The odds are stacked against us. The odds are stacked against us. I was talking the other day about the fact that the truth you've got to pay for. The truth is behind a paywall, right? Whether it's the Washington Post or whether it's the Times in the UK, you've got to pay money to, the FT is the best example. The FT, to read the stories in the FT, you have to pay. And it's like, I don't know, it's like 40 quid a month or something. This is insanely expensive to get the truth. Lies are free, right? In Canada, they've banned news from social media. So you can't put a link to the BBC in Facebook in Canada. And it's the stupidest thing they could possibly fucking do. So basically they've said, you can say what you like. You can post any old kind of nonsense. You can put up a meme that just lies to all of your family and friends, right? All 742 of your Facebook friends, right? You can just lie to all. That's fine. Just fucking lie to them. It doesn't matter, But tell them the truth. Oh my God, this has just happened. And then put a link into the BBC. No, not having that. And the government's like, this is a good thing. We've stopped them spreading lies on the internet. I'm like, no, you haven't. No, you fucking haven't. Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you so much because Ms. Paula Thomas has been so kind and dropped in a super chat, which is marvelous. Thank you. Just give me 1 second because I am just going to try and set up how does it do this? Give me my... sorry, I'm just going a bit crazy here. I'm just going a bit crazy in my old age. Right. I've done a goal. It's only 5 because it's Saturday, Sunday morning. And we all should be in church and not here listening to me wibble on. Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. The other issue I suspect is Trump intends to use ICE as a general harassment unit for the midterms. He will send them to Democrat voting to harass polling lines. Yeah, he absolutely will. And just shoot people. We found out last week that you can shoot people dead in America, and that's okay. That's absolutely fine. So yes. So going back to Greenland, because that's the main thing I want to talk about today. Greenland is a NATO member as part of the Kingdom of Denmark, and it is threatening to take it is a direct act of war. In fact, the US president is now openly behaving like the emperor. The emperor of they had the No Kings protest, didn't they? And Trump's like, oh, well, I'm not a king, I'm an emperor. Let's build an empire. He's behaving exactly like the empire builders did 200 years ago. And there's various ways that America could take over Greenland. So let's go through them and we'll gauge the likeliness, shall we? So the easy way, how America can steal Greenland without firing a shot, well, cash payments to Greenlanders. To rig an independence vote, targeted bribes between $10,000 and $100,000. I suggest that they could pay $1 million because there's only 60,000 people live in Greenland, so you could give each of them $1 million. Be cheaper. I mean, it would cost $60 billion, but mate, cheaper than an invasion. I'll tell you that now. God, invasions cost a lot of money. You're in effect enough. Thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Defund ICE and more confetti for Diz. Yes, couldn't agree more. And US officials are openly discussing manipulating a referendum in Greenland, using self-determination as a cover for colonial empire building. Funding, there's funding from there's funding that's been given to pro-US political parties in Greenland and influence campaigns. They're planning to flood Nuuk, the capital, with US diplomats and development money, that turning this economic desperation into political leverage and creating chaos. Because Washington says that taking Greenland is the only solution. To what? I have no idea. Well, we know what. They want the resources. What Yori said, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Yeah, absolutely agree. Don't forget that Greenland's full of mineral wealth that is untapped. But here's the thing, right? Here's a question for you. How come when a scientist says, I think there's oil in them there hills, or I think there's minerals in them there valleys, or I think there's this in there, the American government's like, okay, let's go in, right? But when a scientist says, I think that the world is getting warmer and it's because we keep burning this fucking toxic sludge that we keep pumping out the ground at a rate that is just unbelievable, creating more energy, adding more energy to the mix than having a nuclear bomb go off every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every week of every month of every year since the signing of the Magna Carta. That's how much extra energy we have put into the mix by taking out this energy out the ground and then putting it on the surface and then burning the motherfucker. And when scientists say that, you're like, oh no, scientists are lying. They're just lying. They're all paid shills from big green energy. And you're like, oh, okay, so who are these scientists that you're listening to being paid for? By the oil companies. Okay. And let's not beat around the bush. When people go, oh, but the problem is that China has all of the rare earth metals and the rare earth materials that are needed to create microchips, right? Okay. No, they don't. No, they fucking don't. No, they don't. Those rare earth metals, materials, molecules, whatever the fuck they are, they're all over the world. They're in places in Africa, right? What China's got is the refineries, okay? They've got the facilities to break apart a bit of, I don't know, fucking bauxite and turn it into something useful. They've got the ability to do that. America could do the same thing and buy its raw materials from whoever wants to sell them to. They don't have to even give them that much money. Because what else are they going to do with these raw materials? They can't sell it to anybody else. China's already at capacity. If America wanted to go toe-to-toe against China for rare earths, it's not a mining problem. It's a processing problem. Build more processing places that can process the fucking lithium or the beryllium or whatever the fuck it is that you need. But Trump's a fucking idiot. He has a 12-year-old child, a spoiled, fat, rich kid's fucking mentality. Little podgy kid. He's all of the 4 horrible children from Willy Wonka's chocolate factory all put together in one disgusting amorphous blob. Like the substance, like the end of the substance. That's what he is. He's got those kids. They've all been grouped together. And they're all just like this big blob. That's what Trump is. If you've not seen Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, if you've not seen the substance and you don't know what the fuck I'm on about, just imagine like Jabba the Hutt, but worse. Kirsty, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. The reason for starting World War III is monetary. America is broke, but has weapons for sale. Yeah, but I mean, wars are economically devastating most of the time. America did well out of World War II in the end because of the fact that it didn't actually get any of its, well, I suppose Hawaii was bombed, but, California wasn't. And the Nazis never landed in New York City or anything like that. So they didn't have the infrastructure being taken out like we did in London, in Liverpool, in Coventry, like they did in France, clearly, and like they did in the Netherlands and Belgium, Germany. I mean, Germany was fucking absolutely razed to the ground in a lot of places. The money was needed to rebuild, and the Americans were happy to loan us that money at a fucking interest rate, of course, as long as we, clicked our heels and saluted and did what we were told to do, which is what we've done. And our prize for doing what we've been told to do, is for Donald Trump to declare war on us being NATO, as this is a declaration of war on a NATO country. And an attack on one, Article 5, attack on one is an attack on us all. Trump is threatening us with this. So the other way they could do it, instead of just having a a takeover where they bribe the people. Is turning independence into a trap. They're pushing Greenland to leave Denmark and then make a compact of free association like what America has with Palau and the Federated States of Micronesia and the Marshall Islands, where the US controls the airspace, the ports, the radar, the shipping lanes. Greenland becomes a military protectorate in everything but name, and local vote, but Washington holds the guns. You know, they have the power to shoot the people who live there in front of their families, just murder them straight up, and they will be given immunity for doing that, because we know that America is a lawless place where masked gunmen could go door to door with the full backing of the government and just fucking murder people. And if these dickheads who voted for Trump, I mean, if they think they're going to be spared the rod, I mean, got another thing coming, you stupid twats. You stupid, stupid twats. The same model, as like I said, has been used in these Pacific island states, and this would mean they vote for independence from Denmark, but end up in complete dependency to the USA. Then there's the idea that I have, which I think they'll probably do. Okay, I think this is the most likely, and this is the little Greenland men of the title of this video. US troops are already stationed on Greenland, just like Russian troops were already stationed at Sebastopol in the Crimea. The space base, what's it called? The Pituffik. It's quite a nice name, though, isn't it? Pituffik. The Pituffik space base is already US run, and the US can legally expand military zones, so they can move forces to Greenland, to that base, without Denmark stopping them. Build more radars, build more airfields, build more ports, and turn it slowly into a US fortress. No invasion needed, just a quiet military takeover. I doubt Trump will go for this because it's not exciting enough for him, because he has the brain of a spoiled 12-year-old twat. Posh, rich, spoiled gobshite with a, he's that kid, isn't he? He's that kid from the movie with the big lollipop who's just a fucking psychopath. He's Joffrey. He's chubby Joffrey. And then there's the hard way, which is what a real seizure would look like. God, I'd love Trump to have a real seizure, but that's a story for another time. US forces already outnumber Denmark's presence. Nuuk could be seized in hours. Airports, ports, and government buildings would be taken first. They could declare Greenland under US control, and they could dare Europe to fire on American troops. That will paralyze NATO, and no one wants to start an inter-alliance war. And Trump counts on fear doing all the hard yakka, all the work, right? That's an issue. Okay, that is a huge issue, because this is the most likely for Trump. I think that the little green men scenario is most likely for Trump's advisors. That's what they will advise him to do. But that's not shock and awe enough. That's not horrible enough for this sadistic motherfucker. Don't forget, this guy's a fucking rapist. This guy brags about sexually assaulting women. This guy is a cast iron, dead set, copper-plated psychopath. This is a guy who would torture puppies for fun and get off on it. And like the breaking up of NATO is everything that Putin has ever wanted. NATO's based on borders being sacrosanct. That, the US breaks or violates Denmark's borders, they break Article 5 of the treaty. It's a treaty organization. That's what the T stands for in NATO. It stands for Treaty, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. We have a treaty. Article 5 says that an attack on one is an attack on all. If someone in NATO attacks another NATO member, it makes Article 5 fucking meaningless. And every dictator learns a lesson. Russia goes further into Ukraine, maybe takes Narva in Estonia. Maybe China wants to have a pop at Taiwan. Maybe the world returns to the era of imperial conquest. Trump becomes the man who killed NATO and possibly triggers World War III. This is a real scenario that is happening now. Why? Because of greed. Because Trump wants the rare earths in that might be in fucking Greenland under the glaciers that are melting, because Trump's mates have put us in this fucking situation where the world's getting hotter and hotter. Thank you very much to Ernie Burns. Hail Seizure! Oh, God. Imagine if that's how he goes and we can all put that on our fucking Facebooks. And one eye pagan, right, now we're talking about Greenland, the possible splitting of NATO, but can you imagine the mess if Trump decides to break the Antarctic Treaty? Yes. Yeah, I can. And he probably will. He probably will as well. Because he hasn't got a fucking clue. As we saw last week, when he sends his troops into fucking Venezuela to get the oil, and they came back, and he went, come on, guys, we could get the oil now. And then all the oil execs are like, looking at each other going, we don't want it. We don't want that oil. Oh, okay, well, I brought this guy to justice. He was a very bad man. Yeah, but you just put someone else in charge who's just as bad as him. And there was a massive crackdown the next day where they started shooting unarmed protesters in the street. But here's the thing. Okay, let's say this happens. Right? Here's what I would do. If I was Denmark, I'd go, all right. What I'll be doing now is getting as much fucking small arms, explosives, C4, all that kind of stuff to Greenland straight away. Put it on a maersk ship, right? Get some fucking containers full of stuff for the people who live in Greenland, and hand it out. Hand it the fuck out. If you get invaded, you know what to do, because one American soldier gets shot in the head by a Greenlander. I'd be like, oh, those Greenlanders. Oh, no. 100 of them coming back in body bags to America for this. How do you think that's going to go down in America? I mean, it'll go down fine with the MAGA lot, but the majority of Americans, that are going to stomach watching young Americans coming home in body bags after being sniped or being taken out or improvised explosives at the side of the road by the people of Greenland. You don't fucking want them there. And it might take 20 years to get rid of the motherfuckers. But you will. And we know you will. Because that's what happened in Iraq. That's what happened in Afghanistan. That's what happened in Vietnam. And that's what happened to the Soviets in Afghanistan. They went in for years and the people didn't want them there. So they fucking just left because, they were all dying for no reason. Other than the profits of already very profitable companies. So what do we need all this rare earths for? Oh, to fund the AI, to power the AI revolution. There's no AI revolution. It's a fucking bubble. The sooner that bubble bursts, the better. Because then there's no reason to invade Greenland. Liz Allen, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Trump is accusing Venezuela of drug trafficking. Meanwhile, he's acting exactly like a territorial drug lord. Yes, he absolutely is. And Kirsty Hamilton, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. And every year, that these same people lay reads on Senate staff and say never again. Better do something about what Trump is doing. Yeah, Kirsty, the hypocrisy is strong with these people. The whole hypocrisy is off the fucking charts. It really is. It's like, unless we forget, people died for our freedom. Yeah, and now you're giving up your freedom to Donald Trump because you love him. What the fuck? Like, what is wrong with these people? Oh, I know everything. Okay, so the good news is that we have had 5 super chats since I set the goal, and that means only one thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, confetti! Oh, hang on, that didn't work. Should we do that again? Take 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, confetti! That is so cool. Thank you. Thank you, Kirsty. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Martin and Yuri. Thank you, Paula. Thank you. Goal achieved. Thank you so much. Okay, so, oh, by the way, before I go on, if any of you are wondering why I changed the name of the channel to Graham Hughes and then brackets Politics Social, I'm slowly evolving it to be Graham Hughes Politics, which it will be, because what was happening was I was commenting on other people's videos and it looked like it was a company or something. Do you know what I mean? Because it just had the Politics Social logo. It didn't have a picture of me, and it didn't look like it was a human saying it. So it's so I can comment on other people's videos. And maybe someone will read my comments and go, he swears in an amusing way. I will follow his channel and then we'll get some more subscribers. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, because we need some more subscribers. We desperately need subscribers. Tell your friends, tell your family. Bring people on board. Anyway, so, Greenlanders will never accept US rule. 85% of the population reject becoming American. They want to be Greenlanders. They don't want to become Americans. Not necessarily even Danes. They want to be Greenlanders. The US represents extraction bases, corporations, pollution. Indigenous communities oppose mining, oil. The mineral rights of Greenland belong to fucking Greenland, as they should. But Trump wants their land. Any presence in the US by the US will face constant resistance. And like I say, it doesn't even need to be that big. It doesn't even need to be that extravagant. Do you know what I mean? You don't need pitch battles or anything. You just need a few bombs at the side of the fucking road to blow shit up as it goes past. 5 Greenlanders, 5 very determined Greenlanders could fuck this whole operation. Because don't forget, if you've got like a mining operation, right, in a country where they don't want you there, you have to get the stuff out the ground, right? Then you have to put it on trucks and you have to take it along a road in a truck to maybe in a convoy to the port, right? Those positions of where the minerals are and where the port is, it might be hundreds of miles from one to the other. You cannot protect that convoy the whole fucking way. You just can't. And you might think, well, but the American army, they're so well, they've got all this tech, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but if they were going to do something like as mad as, I don't know, satellite surveillance, drones flying overhead and all that kind of stuff, it would cost so much, you wouldn't make any money out the fucking minerals you were getting out the fucking grounds. Because the cost of extraction would be too high. Because you would have to police that whole corridor. You'd have to police the mine, you'd have to police the road, the corridor, you'd have to police the port where it was going out. Like, okay, well, the Greenlanders sitting there watching you take away their minerals, okay, all right, and then it goes along the road, okay, right, watch that. Get to put on a boat, okay, and then the boat comes out the water and they fire a fucking RPG at the motherfucker. And it fucking sinks with all those minerals on that you just spent millions of dollars digging out the fucking ground and transported to the fucking port. And then she's got to pay the money for the ship. She's got to be a few million for a big cargo ship. Not cheap. Fucking, what, think about the consequence. I know some of you might be watching this thinking, oh, you're going a bit far there, Graham. But I'm not. This is lived reality, okay? Of countries under occupation. They don't need much to fuck things up for the occupier. Even if the Germans had occupied Britain at some point, maybe in the 50s, maybe in the 60s, they would have left. Why would they have left? Because every fucking motherfucker with a shovel would be attacking these people all of the time. Because you break the social contract. An invasion breaks the social contract. The people there are not happy that you're there. They're not willing to give up their right to not kill you for you to rule over them or for you to extract their wealth. He's going in. This is a bank robbery. He's going into someone else's country because he wants to extract wealth from that country. He's made this very clear in Venezuela. He's made it very clear in Greenland. Oh, he said it's about the Chinese will do it or the Russians. Yeah, go on, let them try. Let them try because it means declaring war on fucking NATO. Good luck with that, Russia. You can't even fucking you've had your fucking fleet taken away from you in the Black Sea by a country that doesn't have a fucking navy. Russia. Fucking basket case. A country with 20% unemployment in Russia at the moment. GDP per capita on a par with fucking Grenada. I mean, no diss to Grenada. It's a nice place. But, I mean, they're not a superpower, are they? No. But, yeah, holding there's got to be, there's got to be protests. There's got to be sabotage. There's going to be political instability. The permanent occupation would be required. And look, it's just going to be a nightmare for the fucking Yanks, right? Vast territory, tiny population, brutal weather, logistics. I was talking the other day about the fact that like 9 months of the year, they would be fucked. The military, the American military, they've only got 2 icebreakers in the whole fleet. They can go, oh, we've got 7,000 fucking ships. And you're like, yeah, great. How many of them can go through ice, mate? Oh, 2. Okay, cool. Just like, their guns jam at minus 40. What are you going to do? They don't have the equipment. They're going to have to make all this new equipment for fighting in the Arctic, something that they've never really considered before. All to get these minerals, right? Which they're going to have to process anyway. What are they going to give the mineral? What happens here? Are they going to give the minerals to America and they're going to process to China to process? Does that make the whole enterprise stupid? Or are you going to build mineral processing facilities in America? If you're going to do that, fine. Go with God and buy the minerals off the Greenlanders. If that's what you want. And give them a fair price. It'll still be cheaper than trying to fucking invade the place and trying to hold it. It's a vast, icy nightmare of a territory. And the locals have lived there for generations and they know the terrain. Do you remember what happened in Vietnam? You got these kids from inner city, Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. You pick them up and then you drop them in a jungle. They've never seen a tree before, and you drop them in a jungle and you go, good luck. And they all fucking died. Thousands and thousands of American soldiers died because they just didn't know the lay of the land. They didn't know how to fight in a fucking jungle. Do you think they're going to do any better in an Arctic fucking tundra? I mean, if America had been successful in Afghanistan, maybe you could argue that, yes, it's possible. But were they? Were they, friends? So, yeah, we got there is a long supply chain across the Atlantic. There will be constant local hostility. The infrastructure there is vulnerable to disruption, not just from the people, but by the elements. Europe could impose sanctions. Airspace, shipping lanes, and cables could be blocked. The USA would bleed money and lose all kinds of legitimacy with the rest of us. So we are busy now. I know this. We're busy behind the scenes. The UK government and European governments are working to try and look to the future, to a world where we don't have to rely on America. And they don't have to give us permission to fucking look after our own nuclear weapons. We really need this. So, let's talk about how this could spiral. I know this is a depressing topic to talk about on a Sunday morning when, we should be having crumpets, which are amazing. Instead, we're going to talk about how this could spiral into a world war. So, the US seizes Greenland. Denmark invokes NATO. Europe splits between confrontation and submission, which is very likely. Russia and China exploit the chaos. Taiwan and Ukraine become open targets, along with Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, parts of Poland, parts of Moldova. And the global alliances fracture, and nuclear-armed powers face off over legitimacy. A land grab in the Arctic becomes a planetary crisis. Okay, so how can we stop this? Well, first of all, we need to publicly declare Greenland non-negotiable. That's something that Keir Starmer's already done, and other leaders and other NATO leaders have already done that. Make it clear that any US takeover ends NATO, which the Prime Minister of Denmark made it very clear last week. We need to prepare economic retaliation, tariffs, sanctions, asset freezes, new rules and regulations on tech and American goods, American services. Someone's pointed out there's an article in, I think it might have been The Guardian, I don't know what it was, yesterday saying this could be our opportunity to pull ourselves away from American hegemony when it comes to the internet. Okay, have a think about this, right? At the moment, we police the internet under American law. Okay? Even we're in Britain, we're under American law. When it comes to things like content on the internet, so it's seen as not being a publisher. Any given platform is not seen as a publisher. It has a duty of care to get rid of tweets or posts or things that are, that are problematic for whatever reason. But it can't be sued for allowing, like Grok can't be sued in America for allowing child pornography images to be created on that particular platform, Elon Musk platform. Elon Musk, whose father married his own daughter and now has 2 children with her. His own stepdaughter that he adopted at the age of 3 when she was a toddler. How fucked up is that? Elon Musk, who's killed hundreds of thousands of babies in Africa and across Asia and the Pacific in just the last year with his cuts, with his Doge cuts. Big joke to him, another podgy white rich boy. Daddy owns an emerald mine. Stop developing at the age of 12. He thinks things are cool, and it's just a child. It is just a child in a man's body. He's never grown up. Never grown up. Never taken anything seriously in his life. He's never had to. And life free from consequences. What does that look like? It looks like Nigel Farage. It looks like Donald Trump. It looks like Vladimir Putin. It looks like Elon Musk. That's what a life free from consequences looks like. There must be consequences. People break the law, we have to take them to task. And it should be the same law for fucking everyone, no matter whose vagina they popped out of. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we're all treated equally. You see the woman holding the scales, you know, Lady fucking Justice or whatever her name is. She's got a blindfold on because Justice is supposed to be blind. It's fucking not. That's not blind to the bank accounts of these motherfuckers. But yeah, but what we can do, right, is move away from that. And we can do this without big fuss. But we can say, well, let's say move away from that, move away from America policing the internet. Okay? So at the moment, there is it's little more than a guideline for us, but it's a law in America that you can't hack into Twitter or Facebook or whatever and fuck it up, right? Or copy their code and make a new version of it. You're not supposed to do that. Why? They're a foreign company. They're a foreign company of a hostile power. Why can't we steal their shit? Same goes for their entertainment. Same goes for their TV shows and movies and everything else. You know, why can't cinemas in this country just go, oh, fuck you then? We're going to just show the movies we want to show. We're going to download them off the internet from Costa Rica. Thanks, Costa Rica. And we're just going to project them. I'm going to pay, people are going to pay us, and we're going to keep all the money ourselves. Thank you very much. We're going to pay you a fucking penny. We're going to show your movies, and we're not going to pay you a penny. No, copyright. Oh, fuck you. Sorry, mate. Something we could do. Make them feel the pain. Make them feel the pain. And by looking at the way the internet's set up at the moment, by copy and pasting all that fucking lovely juicy code, which you can get a hold of. You know, it's not difficult to get hold of code on the internet. Just right click and go inspect element. And there you go. You got it. Woohoo! Copy it and paste it, make your own fucking site. We can't do that at the moment because of US law. Not our law. Not our fucking law. We've got a deal with America that we won't break their law. But we could. Let's have a European Twitter. Let's have a European Facebook. Let's have a European WhatsApp. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. What European Snapchat and Instagram. Let's have a European YouTube. Can you hear that, Google Daddy? You hear that? That's what I want. I'm giving money to an American company. Fuck that shit. Graham Starmer's word back on that. He's now contemplating sending British troops to protect Greenland for Trump. For Trump? I thought it was to against Trump. Jesus. Well, he came out. He came out last week and said, Greenland, the future of Greenland is for the Greenlanders. Which I assume that the European leaders got together and said, what are we going to say against this? We can also, along with the internet thing, we can also deny US access to European bases. We can do that. We can block uses of airports and ports. We can also block access to data centers. Europe's got thousands of data centers all over the fucking shop. We could block access to it. We could really fuck things up. Got to think in the mind of the saboteur in this situation, because we are very much David against the Goliath. That is America, a psychotic Goliath. But we're not unarmed, you know. We have a sling, a slingshot. We need to reinforce Danish military presence in Greenland. I thought that's because I only saw a cursory glance at that particular article. Sorry, I didn't include it in my notes. Reinforce Danish military presence in Greenland. Put European troops on the ground and make it impossible for Trump to claim that his claim is unopposed, because it is opposed. And what Britain needs to do, it needs to stop hiding behind Washington. It needs to stand openly with Denmark and the good people of Greenland. And we need to treat this as a threat to European security, which it absolutely is. Support EU sanctions if the US does this. And we need to refuse US military expansion in Europe. We need to make it clear that UK soil is not a launch pad for colonial fucking theft. The age of colonies is gone, you know. This is about a land grab for rare earths, for oil and gas, for Arctic shipping lanes, for military dominance, the end of rules, the return of empire, and a president who thinks the world is his playground to do whatever the fuck he wants in. A psychotic, murdering paedophile allowed to run around the playground and do whatever he wants with no consequences whatsoever. This motherfucker's got to feel the fucking consequences. Preferably in his neck, but, you know. So, yeah. In my opinion, we in Denmark should have taken the home rule away from them. We have made really bad things in Greenland, but allowing the social problems to continue is the worst. Yeah, Christian, I agree with you there. And it's only a small population of 60,000 people. Yeah, Denmark could have invested more in the Greenlandic people, the Greenlanders. I don't know why it didn't. That was a stupid decision, considering that Denmark is one of the richest countries in the world per capita, one of the happiest, one of the safest. Why not share the wealth across to your colonies in the Faroe Islands and in Greenland? Although that being said, the Faroe Islands are very nice. I couldn't speak for Greenland; I've not been there. Been to the Faroe Islands a couple of times. Starmer's rode back on Greenland. What he said is basically, "Don't invade, annex Greenland. We'll guard it for you." Sorry, don't invade and annex Greenland. We'll guard it for you. Guard it for the Americans. I don't. Can you or guard it for the Danish or the Greenlanders? What? Simon says, I've heard, not bought. I'm a good person. There are quality bootleg films at Barras Market and Camden Market. Go nuts and feck Hollywood. Yeah. Oh, I see. Graham Starmer stated he's prepared to send troops to Greenland to protect Greenland for Trump against Russian aggression. Okay, yeah. All right, fair enough. When I read that other message, I thought it meant that he said that he was going to back America to take over Greenland and send in troops to help the Americans do this, which wouldn't be great. Yeah, so Richie, you could call it Witcher instead of Twitter. Get off Twitter. Get off Twitter. Please get off Twitter. Get off Twitter immediately. It is a paedophile's playground. Get off there. Get off that fucking site. It is exploiting British children and children all over the world. But particularly, like, we need to protect our women and girls. Don't we keep hearing that? Well, can we do that by getting people off Twitter? Like, everyone in this country needs to be off it immediately. Denmark has finally acknowledged. Thanks. I don't know what they've acknowledged, but thank you for the acknowledgement. So yeah, this is the world that we have got. Someone said it was a 7-day trial of 2026, and I don't want to continue with the subscription. It is really fucking disgraceful. This last week has seen the invasion of Venezuela, and that's just over a week. The invasion of Venezuela, threats against Greenland, and the open murder in plain sight, on camera, of a 37-year-old mother of three, a soccer mom, who was shot in the face by an ICE agent, a Gestapo agent of Trump's, his own private militia, which is above the law. Above that, he said you can kill any motherfucker you want. If they can kill 37-year-old mothers of three, white mothers of three, who have no criminal record, are not hooked on drugs, are not causing any problem to anyone, are sitting there smiling in the car, saying, I don't hate you, dude, you know? If you can kill them, you can kill anyone in America. Get the fuck out while you can. Please. Please. I've got friends who have left or are leaving, and that's what I would do. Go back once that motherfucker's dead. Yes, there will be things to clean up. Yes, there will be things to do to, it will take a long time. Your life has been completely torn apart by this blob of orange, putrid vomit that is Donald Trump. Donald Judas Trump. The most scumbaggiest scumbag of all time. Meanwhile, while Trump is running around making sure that he's on the front page of every fucking news story, there's other things going on. Iran is undergoing possibly a second revolution, the second since 1979 when they got rid of the Shah. They're now asking for the Shah to come back, or at least his son, to come back and Shah them into oblivion. And I was talking to Mike about this on Friday. He's like, I can't believe they're asking for the king to come back. And I'm like, well, wouldn't you? I mean, the experiment of the Islamic State of Iran has not worked, has it? The Iranian people, the inflation there is at 20%. It's more than 20%. They're fucking crazy inflation levels. Also, there's no water. They're running out of water because the infrastructure is just not in place. And now bodies are piling up. Bodies are piling up in hospitals because the security forces are killing people. And yet at the same time, at 111 cities around Iran, people are rising up. People are rising up, and that's been pushed out the news. It's not as high up as it should be on the news agenda. And also, there's the small thing of the fact that Victoria in Australia is on motherfucking fire. Is on fire. Yes, it's on fire. My Australian friends are texting me going, are you getting this over there? And I'm like, no, not really. Not really. We're not really seeing it. Why are we not really seeing it, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I'll tell you why we're not really seeing it. Because the stupid fucking yank is taken over. Is just taken over our internet. Like, we don't get any news unless it's what the fucking yank is doing. The Sunday Times, the papers today, they're leading with what's happening in Iran. And then the Telegraph is Iran, and Iran again is calling Starmer a coward. Like, this is Farage calling Starmer a coward, the guy who hides behind the petticoats of Vladimir Putin. He's calling someone else a coward, so that's quite rich. Sunday Express is talking about, I don't know, fucking Kemi Badenoch saying that she's going to bring back the British High Street. Well, why'd you get rid of it in the first place? That happened on the Tory rule. Sunday People is leading with a story about Love Island. Oh, actually, no, here you go, right? So it's Love Island wildfire crisis. So, the Love Island has been set on fire by a fucking fire that's been caused by climate change. So there you go. That's a bit about the fire. The Daily Star has something about, I don't know, fucking what that's all about. Mirror is saying it's got a story about the Manchester Arena victims, and the Independent is about the IPP scandal. So it's not like we're all we're all fucking having to read the same news on this, but it has really dominated the first headlines of the year. It is just a bit. It's a bit much. It's a bit much. I think we're all feeling that to a lesser or greater extent. And I'm just gonna. What is happening here? Why is this happening? I've got a little bit of a problem. Oh, I know why it's doing that. Sorry. 1 second. Because I was going to be clever. Never try to be clever, Graham. I'd love to know why my little video here isn't working. Sorry, let me press refresh here. No, that's not working. Sorry about this. Listen, I'm going to go over to the papers because I want to go over to the papers because I want to show you the Observer. But the background's going to go a bit weird. Sorry about this. Sorry. Here we go. Papers. Okay, so we've got the Observer there with the World Without Rules. This is kind of tying in with what I was talking about today. We've got the violent streets of Minneapolis, and you've got a guy dressed as in ice with all of his handcuffs and his body packs and his ammo and his big guns. And then we've got a story about Trump wanting to own Iceland, and then a polar bear tied up in a flag. The new lawlessness, which I mentioned before about, there's Lady Justice or whatever her name is, there with going, how come the rich are allowed to get away with anything? And then we've got a story here. What if Trump invades Canada? And then we've got the number 10 bin fire and the not so special relationship. And we've got the Ayatollah's last stand. And there's a woman putting out, burning a picture of the Ayatollah with a headscarf off and with a cigarette. So let's go back to the main screen here. So, I mean, that covers a lot of the things that are happening right now around the world. Lots of fire. Lots of shit going down. And the thing is, I don't lose hope because there is things that we can do about it. And do you know what gives me hope? This is going to sound fucking crazy. Afghanistan. America spent $1 trillion in Afghanistan. Over 20 long motherfucking years. And they didn't win. Why? Because they couldn't. They couldn't win. If people don't want you ruling them, they will not allow you to rule them. And it might take a year, it might take 5 years, it might take 10 years, it might take 46 years. But at some point, the people will rise up and they will burn all your shit and they will fuck you over and make it so that you don't have any money, and they will pull you out your car and they will beat you to death at the side of the motherfucking road. This has happened again. This has happened before. It will happen again. So whatever these motherfuckers throw at us, as long as there's enough people who do not want to be ruled by those motherfuckers, then one day, we will yeet them out. We will absolutely eat them out. Because there's not enough Americans. That's another thing as well. One of the reasons why it's so hard to get the English or the British out of Ireland, for instance, is because Britain was colonizing Ireland for hundreds of years. It wasn't like a occupying army, although it was. I mean, originally under fucking gobshite Oliver Cromwell, but the idea was they would send people over to go and live there, right? But you've got to have a certain number of people in order to make that work. And there weren't in Ireland. And that's why when they had the referendum to decide what to do with Ireland, we ended up with this entity called Northern Ireland because they just gerrymandered. They just drew a line, a circle around the place where most Protestants were, most British people were, and said, this is a separate place. This is still part of Britain. And people there, obviously, it's almost 50-50 now between Protestants and Catholic in Northern Ireland. And Unionists and Republicans. I think that the way that America could try and take over these places, although Greenland is a small population, you only need a handful of people to fuck up the operation there. There's not constantly people in America trying to blow up supply lines, trying to destroy infrastructure, trying to fuck things up for you. There aren't. It might be like one fucking crazy person going off and doing it, but they get no support. I mean, they're usually fucking on their own. When there is a concerted effort to this kind of thing, you can end up with something like 9/11, which is devastating to America, devastating to the American psyche. Maybe it's never recovered. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. But the idea that America can put 1 million soldiers into Greenland and then hold it forever while digging stuff out the ground when for 9 months of the year the place is just completely covered in ice and the other 3 months aren't much better. Good luck with that. You just think about the supply routes that you need, the supply lines, getting food to all those soldiers, because you can't grow anything in Greenland. It's a big fucking ice sheet. What are you going to grow? You're going to get the fish out the water. There's going to be enough fish for 1 million fucking soldiers. Fuck off. You have to bring all this food in, the logistics behind it. For what? For minimal. So you're still going to need to process. They don't have the processing facilities. America, if it wants to win the war on rare earths, simply needs to make more. I know it sounds okay. It's not simple. I know it's complicated, but it's simpler than invading Greenland. Just make some processing plants in America to process these rare earth materials, metals, whatever stuff. Because that's what they do in China. That's why China has 90% of the rare earths. It's not because all those rare earths happen to be in China. They're not. They're from all over the world. They just get processed in China. But Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't fucking understand anything. So if they do invade Greenland, I hope the Greenlanders give them hell and make them feel very uncomfortable and very unwelcome. And, some Americans have to go home in a body bag to show that Trump doesn't give a fuck about Americans. And Trump has this private army now over there. Get the fuck out of America. Get the fuck out of America, please. Please. People are going to be going, I haven't got any money and I haven't got this and I haven't got that. Your life. You've got your life, okay? Grab your kids. Get the fuck out of there. The US Army is the most feared military in the world and part of Canada, says Grant J. Johnson. Yeah, but they still lost in Afghanistan. Arguably, they lost in Iraq. I know, Pagan, I'm personally angry how things are played out, and I get that Starmer has a tightrope to walk when it comes to Trump, but the UK does need to draw a line in the sand eventually. Yeah. But yeah, Chris, we've spoken about this. I think that's what Starmer's doing is a Neville Chamberlain. And by that, I mean that while Neville Chamberlain was happy to be the fall guy, he probably wasn't happy about it, but he was the fall guy for the fact that we needed to rearm because we saw what was happening in Germany. We needed time. We needed the time to before we declared war on these motherfuckers, which was inevitable at that point. We wanted to have a year, 2 years to build fucking Spitfires, make some bombs, make some munitions, build some Wellington bombers, etc. Cathal OG, thank you very much for the €5. I don't post on Twitter, but follow Reform Party Expose and Fesshole. There's all kinds of awful stuff on it, but easily avoided. Am I going to hell? Cathal, just get off it. The Reform Party Expose and Fesshole are also on Threads. They're also on Blue Sky. Just move. It was exactly the same thing. Write to any friends that you have on there, that you, or people following you, that you follow them, and you don't want to lose that connection. Just write to them and say, here's where to find me on Blue Sky. Here's where to find me on Threads. Here's where to find me on Facebook. Here's my phone number if necessary. If you need me, please get in touch. I'm going. But please get off that site. Get off that. Anyone who spends any time on that site is giving money to Elon Musk to make child pornography. So yeah, please. What you're talking about there, Reform Party, Expose, and Fesshole, are available on other sites. I see Fesshole all the time on their threads. I woke up to rats running about, playing in their cage. Okay, cool. Simon, it gets interesting when the fledgling gets kicked out of the nest. They dive bomb us. I think we have similar footage to the recent ice footage coming from Greenland if they put boots on there. Yes, Al, there will be. There will be. And that will spur the Icelandic people on. And think about Icelandic people. They live in one of the most inhospitable places on earth. These are hardy people. And they know the land. They know their country. They know where... I'm sorry, but the Americans, they'll be fucked. I mean, it'd be horrible. It'd be absolutely fucking horrible for the people of Greenland. It'd be horrible for the troops who are stationed over there. But they're not going to win. They're not going to win. That's my prediction. Whether Trump invades, whether he does his little green men thing, whether he tries to rig a referendum. If 85% of the population of any given place don't want you there, don't even fucking try. Don't even try. I agree with you, Graham, but unlike Chamberlain, I don't see Starmer rearming the UK at present. Yeah, we need to be doing that. I knew someone would correct me on military nomenclature. Hurricanes, Spitfires came out. Thanks. Always prefers Hurricanes to Spitfires. Yeah. Well, I mean, my dad wanted to call me Hurricane, which actually probably would have done my life chances a lot better because, how could you forget someone called Hurricane Hughes? But my mum wouldn't allow it because she's not crazy. He wants to call me Brother Lancaster. Oh my God. Anyway, but yes. What about tornadoes and cyclones, says L? What? And Vietnam, has America ever won a war? Not really. Not like won. I mean, you could say Korea, but it's split in two, isn't it? Have they met all of their military objectives and got out and... I don't know. On their own? I don't think so. With help from other countries, maybe. You could argue World War One and World War Two. But they didn't turn up to World War One to the last few months of the fucking war. It's not hardly fucking there. Hurricane Hughes, lol, says Diz. Yeah. At least I'm on the Spitfire. But yeah, what else have we got in here? All right, so I'm gonna get going now because I've been yabberting on for longer than an hour, which is usually when we turn this thing off. Google at the moment is using AI to scan email content. So go into smart features in your setup for your Gmail and turn off smart features, because with the setting on, you agree to let Gmail chat and Meet use your email chat and video content to personalize your experience with smart features in these products. So they're spying on you. So yeah. Yeah. Hurricane Hughes plays Nuuk. Hurricane Higgins. That was Higgins. Henry Higgins. That was My Fair Lady, wasn't it? Lol, my mate was reading through a book of baby names and she loved the name the God name section. Yeah. Come on, there's some great God names. Nebuchadnezzar. Well, no, sorry, he wasn't a god, wasn't he? He was a leader. Nebuchadnezzar is a fucking cool name. Agamemnon. Not a god again, but King Agamemnon. What a fucking name. You couldn't call your kid that and send them to the local comp, though. I'll tell you now. So yeah, Catherine Haywood, I think we can all agree that Hurricane would be a perfect name for you. Oh, thanks, Kat. I think that's my cue to get going. So I don't have any breakfast. Gonna have to go and get some breakfast. So, in conclusion, just to conclude what I was saying, I think that this is very likely to go ahead. I'm sorry to say. I think it's some way or other Trump is going to try and take Greenland for the minimal rights. I don't think it's going to be worth it. I don't think it's going to be successful. I think it's going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. I think it's a fucking terrible idea. But unfortunately, you have a leader in Donald Trump who is an absolute fucking dickhead. And no one has ever said no to him. No one's ever stood up to him. No one's ever made him feel the consequences of his actions. He's always got away with it because he's a spoiled little rich brat. Spoiled little Nepo baby for who the law does not extend. So, friends, family, entertained masses, I hope. I will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for a very exciting episode of Morning Brew. I just want to say thank you so much for the super chats. Very kind of you. Thanks for joining me. And thanks for all the chat as well in general. And until we meet again, hopefully at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.